Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Class, we had learned about different categories of organisms based on the adaptations they have. And you know that these adaptations are very essential for the organism to survive in their habitat. If they cannot develop, if they cannot adjust or adapt to the environment where they are living, they won't be able to survive or they won't be able to reproduce. And based on the different adaptations found in living organisms, we categorize them into 4 types. So which are those 4 types, Nandana?
Regulate, suspend, conform, and migrate.
Okay, conform, suspend, migrate, and regulate. And human beings come under which category, Sharon?
Regulate.
Regulate. So we come under regulate animals. Why we are known as regulate animals, Malavika? Why we come under that category?
Because we maintain a constant internal temperature.
We can maintain a constant internal temperature. And how are regulate animals different from conform animals? Michael? In comparison, or when we compare regulate and conform animals, what is the difference, main difference?
Conform animals cannot maintain their body temperature.
Constant body temperature, or they cannot maintain, unlike regulate animals, they cannot maintain a constant body temperature. Regulate animals, whatever be the external temperature or external surroundings, they will be able to maintain a constant internal temperature because of the different adaptations they have. We completed regulate and conform animals. I think migrate also we completed. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
We mentioned about a bird which migrates. Which bird is that? Migrating to Rajasthan in winter season. Evelyn, name the bird. Gayatri. Starting with the S. Only the place name. With the place name, the bird's name is added. Naureen.
Siberian.
Siberian crane. What is that? Gayatri, what did she say?
Siberian crane.
Why you forgot that?
I didn't write them. I just marked.
What you've written, you will revise. You won't read your textbook. And Evelyn, you got it, no? Siberian crane. So let us continue with the 4th type, that is suspend. As the name suggests, these organisms, they will suspend their activities for a particular period of time. Let's learn more about it. The 4th type is suspend. Is it raining there, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Heavy rain, so that sound clarity is also getting affected. You are feeling some disturbances in my voice? No. No problem. Okay. In bacteria, fungi and lower plants, you have learned these organisms, they produce spores. They are capable of carrying out reproduction by means of spore formation. And the advantages of spores also you have learned. These spores are thick wall. They have got a hard protective outer covering. And because of the covering, they are able to tide over all the unfavorable conditions. So when the conditions are unfavorable, the spores will remain dormant. They will not germinate. But on return of favorable conditions, they will germinate and form a new organism. So they can tide over, they can withstand the unfavorable conditions or harsh climatic conditions because of the thick wall produced around or covering the spores. I'll repeat again. In bacteria, fungi, as well as in lower plants, thick wall spores. So they carry out reproduction, asexual reproduction by means of spore formation, and these spores are having a hard protective covering which will help them to survive all the harsh climatic conditions. And when they get a suitable warmth and moisture, or on return of favorable conditions, they will germinate. That is also an example for suspending the activity. So till the return of favorable climatic conditions, all the activities are suspended. In higher plants, seeds and some vegetative reproductive structures, they serve to tide over the periods of stress by reducing their metabolic activity. So not only in bacteria, fungi and lower plants, in higher plants also this suspender remaining in a dormant state, that technique is being carried out. And but here it is not by means of spores, but the seeds which they produce and certain reproductive structures like rhizome and all, so they can remain like that for a long period of time, and on return of favorable conditions, when the conditions is suitable for them to germinate, they will form a new organism. See, at home we store different gram seeds, different seeds, pulses. They don't germinate. We can store them for years, but if you give them, if you take some seeds and provide them some warmth as well as moisture, you spread it on a moist cotton and observe it for a few days, you can see them getting germinated. But if those conditions are not available, when they are present in tight bins or airtight boxes or tins, they will not germinate, because they don't have, or they are not getting the appropriate conditions for germination. But as soon as you give them, or when the suitable conditions are provided, you are spreading it on a moist cloth or a moist cotton, and sufficient temperature is also there, proper warmth also they are getting, within a few days you can see them germinating. So that is why it is mentioned in higher plants, seeds and certain other vegetative reproductive structures. There are different reproductive structures, for example rhizome, like in certain plants, we call it in Malayalam is a kerangu. It will remain like that. And when the conditions are favorable, like dahlia and all, no, flowering plants. So many examples are there. So when the conditions are favorable, from that structure, from that reproductive structure, they can germinate. And even vaya kanna we used to say. I don't know whether you know about it. From where you can form a new plant. Because during this time they will reduce all the metabolic activities and energy is conserved, and on the return of favorable conditions they germinate. When they get proper moisture and temperature, they will germinate. Hope you have understood the point. So here you can see the examples of fungal spores, pistachio and then gram seeds. Now those were the examples from plant kingdom. We listed some examples of plants or some activities carried out by plants where they suspend their activity and remain in a dormant stage. And the same thing is applicable for animals also. Some of the animals, they can suspend their activities. Hibernation occurs during winter. So hibernation, the other name is winter sleep, whereas estivation is summer sleep. So hibernation, so as you can see in the picture, during the winter season when it is very cold, they will enter into a stage of inactivity. We call it as winter sleep. This can last from a few weeks to even 2 months. And during this period, all the metabolic activities, their body temperature, all the other metabolic activities will be slowed down. And they depend upon the stored fat in their body for survival. And when the conditions are favorable for them, they will come out of this hibernation. Same is the case of estivation. Estivation is for tiding over high temperature or warmer condition. And you call it as summer sleep. It's found in certain snails and fishes. During summer season, they enter into a dormant stage or a stage of inactivity. All the body activities will be slowed down and the energy will be conserved. And then once the conditions are favorable, they will get back to the normal routine or normal conditions. Now that mudfish in drain, it will remain like that for a few months. Then next one is diapause. Diapause is usually shown by, even in insects also you can find diapause. It's a stage of suspended development. It's a stage of suspended development, and many zooplankton. Zooplankton means microscopic animals found in water bodies. We have phytoplanktons also. Phytoplankton means microscopic plants. Zooplankton means microscopic animals found in water bodies. So diapause is found in or carried out by several zooplanktons in lakes as well as in ponds. So the some of the zooplanktons found in lakes and ponds, they enter into a stage of diapause where their activities will be suspended, and once the conditions are favorable, they will come out of this particular stage and they will come back to their, or go back to their normal routine. So that is another technique or another method by means of which they save energy and tide over the unfavorable conditions. Okay. Hibernation as well as estivation, it can last for from few weeks to several months. And not only zooplanktons, as I told, different insects like monarch butterfly, then cone borer, silkworm, they all can enter into diapause stage. And the intention, the main reason behind hibernation, estivation, diapause, all are that the climatic region, the climatic condition during which hibernation, estivation and diapause happens are different. But the intention is same, to tide over the unfavorable condition, to somehow manage the unfavorable conditions, and when the conditions are favorable, they will return to their normal routine. Okay, children? So hibernation carried out in winter, you call it as winter sleep, and one typical example is bear, and then not only bear, even bats, hedgehogs, so many organisms or so many animals carry out hibernation. Similarly, estivation is, or summer sleep is carried out by snails, fishes, etc. And diapause is carried out by several insects and zooplanktons in lakes and ponds. You call it as diapause. Okay, diapause can be carried out both in winter and summer. It can happen both in winter and summer. Shall I change? So here you can see copepod. Copepod is an example where a zooplankton found in aquatic habitat or found in water bodies. Diapause in copepod. Now we are moving on to the adaptations shown by different organisms. Okay, so we learned about the different categories of animals, and just quickly summarize what we learned about suspend. Nevin, you may start. Sharon, Anna, Nia, Nidhi. No video, no attendance. Yes, Nevin.
What is it?
What did we learn? Simple question. What did we learn now?
No, I couldn't hear anything.
You couldn't hear anything what I was saying so far?
And this was my videos.
But I can hear you properly. Vidur?
When you stopped sharing, it became smooth.
Vidur? Unmute. Let me see. All are having one or the other problem. Punya?
Suspend. It is the method by which the organisms slow down body functions to cope up with unfavorable conditions. In bacteria, fungi and lower plants, thick wall helps them to cope with unfavorable condition, and when the conditions are favorable, they can germinate. Okay.
Nandana, next point.
In higher plants, seeds and other reproductive structures help them to cope with periods of stress.
Once
And
again.
favorable conditions, they germinate.
Warmth and moisture, they will germinate. Okay, then I give you a few examples of animals too carrying out this activity, that is suspending their activity during a particular period of time. Gayatri, one example.
Hibernation of bears in the winter.
What is hibernation? Which season?
Winter.
They enter into a stage of inactivity, and during this period or during this stage their metabolic activities will slow down. They depend upon the body fat for survival. Then Donna, next one, hibernation she told.
Estivation of some snails and fishes during summer.
Sleep or estivation. And the last one, Sania. I can't hear you. Lydia?
Ma'am, I just came now.
Yes? You joined just now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anna? Diapose. Diapose is carried out by?
Many
Zooplanktons. One more example I had mentioned. Zooplanktons are? Copepod is an example for a zooplankton. Copepods are? Who can tell? Sharon, other than copepod?
Monarch butterfly.
Okay, monarch butterfly, or in general you can say insects also carry out this method. Okay, now we are moving on to adaptations shown by different animals. Some of the points you have already learned in lower classes. My camera is getting off in between. Okay, let's see. You can see the pictures of different animals. Adaptations also you might be getting an idea, because you're familiar with all these animals, the webbed feet of duck, the polar bear, the adaptations you've learned in lower classes, and the camel. Okay. Let's see the definition for adaptation. Adaptation is the morphological, physiological, and behavioral attributes or attribute that enables an organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. And I already told you, if the organism, if the living organism cannot develop adaptations to suit the habitat where they are surviving, they cannot continue there. They'll get destroyed. So adaptations are very, very important. Only those organisms having favorable variations which will help them to adapt to the situations will survive. Others will perish. So adaptation is the morphological, physiological and behavioral attribute, not only in terms of the external features, not only in morphology, internally, internal features also will have to get adjusted to the external surroundings. Then behavioral, some of them develop some changes in their behavior too in order to cope up with the environmental conditions. Once again, the definition is, it's a morphological, physiological or behavioral attribute that enables an organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. Or else you can use the plural form of that. Adaptations are the morphological, physiological and behavioral attributes that help an organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. Clear? It is not only some changes or adaptations are not only from within. In terms of behavior as well as the external features also will facilitate the organism to adapt better to the environment. Many adaptations have evolved over a long evolutionary time and genetically fixed. You all have learned about evolution from lower classes. You know, you're familiar with Darwin. Am I right? Yes or no? Charles Darwin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So these changes are not taking place within a day or a two. It takes time. It is slowly these changes are getting accumulated and it is genetically fixed. Means if an organism has developed these adaptations, it will be transferred to the next generation. that particular organisms offsprings also will get these adaptation because it is genetically fixed and it can be carried on to the next generation. It will be carried over to the next generation as it is genetically fixed. It is involving changes in the genes, so it is hereditary and it can be transferred to the successive generations. Once again, adaptations are the morphological, physiological and behavioral attributes that enables an organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. Many adaptations or all these adaptations, different adaptations are shown by living organisms. All these are not developed within a day or two. It takes time and these are formed as a result of evolution. Okay, gradually these changes are being accumulated and these are genetically fixed. Being genetically fixed, these changes or these adaptations are carried over to the successive generations too. We'll see first the adaptations of kangaroo rat, and it got the name because this organism or this rat hops like a kangaroo. Adaptations of kangaroo rat in North American deserts. So in appearance, it is not looking like a kangaroo, but the movement, the locomotion, or it hops like a kangaroo. That's why it got the name. Internal fat oxidation gives water as byproduct if there is no external source of water. And these rats are found in desert regions. And you know that in desert region, the most important feature is that it is very dry condition or scarcity of water is there. Only those organisms, whether it is plant or an animal, only those who can withstand the scarcity of water, only those who can survive in the absence of a sufficient amount of water can survive there, and kangaroo rat can manage, and we will see some of the adaptations. So their fat deposits are there in its body, so that will get oxidized, and as a result of the oxidation of the fat, water will be released as a byproduct. So they don't want to take, or they don't need to take it from an external source, because from in the body itself water is being produced as a byproduct, which will help them to cope up with the water scarcity. Ability to concentrate urine, so that minimal volume of water is used to remove excretory products. So another important feature is that they produce very less urine, and that too it is very concentrated. So more the amount of water, the more will be the loss of water from its body. So they produce highly concentrated urine, and this also will enable them to conserve the water present in the body. So I'll repeat those two adaptations again. Kangaroo rat, they do not require water from an external source because within their body oxidation of fat takes place, which will release water as a byproduct, which it can use for its internal requirements. Then they can produce highly concentrated urine, so that you know that when urine is being excreted from the body, different waste materials are dissolved in this water. And since they are excreting highly concentrated urine, the amount of water which is utilized for removing the excretory waste are also reduced. So they can conserve the water present in its body. So that was about the adaptations shown by kangaroo rat. Now moving on to adaptations shown by desert plants. So some of the points, you know, so as soon as we say about, when we speak about desert plants, which plant comes to your mind? First?
Cactus.
Cactus. Tell me some adaptations found in cactus plants, which you had learned in lower classes. Sania, Rijas, Naureen, Nidhi, Nia, Dona. If this continues, I won't give you attendance. Sorry to say. Yes, somebody was saying, who started? Michael? Tell me any one adaptation shown by cactus.
They're spiky. Their skin. They have lots of spikes on their skin.
Spines.
Spines.
Why spines are there? What are these spines actually? What have got modified into spines? Can anybody say what has transformed into spines? What is lacking in a cactus plant, which is usually found in, just a minute. Yes, Michael. Continue.
Spines instead of leaves.
Exactly. So the leaves are reduced to spines. And what is the reason, Rijas, why the leaves are reduced to spines?
To reduce water loss.
To reduce the water loss. How water is getting lost? Water loss by which method is reduced? Sania, when leaves are reduced to spines, water loss by which method is reduced? Transpiration. So you know that depending upon the external temperature, water can get evaporated from the surface of the leaves through stomata. So hence the leaves are reduced to spines, so water can be conserved. Then the other adaptation, Anna, something about its stem.
I don't know, ma'am.
Cactus plant. What color is its stem? Cactus, you don't know?
Yes, ma'am.
Not only in deserts, here also we can see cactus. You use it as a decorative plant too. Different varieties are there. Gayatri, you think I'll come back to you. You cannot, I will not spare you like that. Yes, Gayatri?
They have sunken stomata.
From the textbook?
Partially.
Tell me what is meant by, from the term, what did you understand? You tell me. Sunken stomata. What is the purpose behind having a sunken stomata and what do you mean by it? Just from the word meaning you can tell. You will get it. Yes.
It won't open too much, so they can conserve water.
Well, how come they can conserve water? Repeat.
As it is not on the surface and sunken.
Correct. See, their stem is green in color, as you know, and it will carry out photosynthesis because leaves are not there. Leaves are reduced to spines, and these spines cannot carry out photosynthesis. So that function is taken over by the stem, and the stem is green in color, and the stem is provided with stomata. But you know that if these are present on the surface, the chances of water loss through transpiration will be more. And due to that reason, these are placed in small pits. And you call it a sunken stomata. So direct exposure to the surface is reduced. So that also will help in reducing transpiration. And another important point is they can store water. It's it stores water inside. Have you seen a cactus stem after being cut? Have you noticed it? It can store water in it. Then the roots are very deep penetrating. Why it is deep penetrating, or why the roots are deep penetrating? So that they can go deep in search of water. They have to search water from there. So they have deep penetrating roots. And these are some of the adaptations shown by a typical desert plant, a cactus. And another adaptation, you haven't learned the name, but in 10th standard, this was mentioned in the textbook, chapter 6, life processes. I don't know whether you're remembering it. When we learned about photosynthesis, we learned some speciality found in desert plants. Anybody is remembering it? Anybody? No. Desert plants, they take in carbon dioxide during night. Yes, then Punya, continue. Let me see how much you are remembering.
Stomata opens at night.
And they will take in
Carbon
dioxide. And then during the daytime, this will be acted upon by sunlight absorbed by chlorophyll. They don't have to open up their stomata during the daytime. And night time, they leave the stomata open, and through that carbon dioxide, the raw material for photosynthesis, will end up. And inside the plant body, this carbon dioxide will get converted into an intermediate form, which you call as malate or malic acid. And this will be acted upon by sunlight during the daytime when chlorophyll absorbs sunlight. So they don't have to keep their stomata open during the daytime to take in carbon dioxide. So that also will help in reducing transpiration, and you call this as cressolation acid metabolism or CAM pathway. And it got the name cressolation acid metabolism. It is not because of any special acid known as cressolation acid, because it is shown by mainly by some plants belonging to cressolation family. Even desert plant show pineapple, jade plant. So many examples are there. So that is known as CAM pathway or cressolation acid metabolism. Cressolacea or cressolation is not the name of the acid, but it indicates the family of plants where this method is being carried out. Presence of thick cuticle, that we missed out. Thick cuticle is also present. A waxy cuticle is present on the surface of leaf, and in the case of cactus you can find a thick cuticle covering on even on the stem. Their stomata are arranged in deep pits, so that direct exposure to the external environment will be reduced and transpiration, and therefore transpiration too will be reduced. A special photosynthetic pathway, you call it as CAM pathway or cressolation acid metabolism. Okay, I'll write it here. I think it's mentioned in your textbook, children, the expansion. Cressolation acid metabolism, that is CAM pathway, acid metabolism. And what is meant by CAM pathway? During the night time they take in carbon dioxide and convert it into an intermediate product which you call as malate or malic acid, malate, and this will be acted upon by solar energy during the daytime when it is trapped by chlorophyll. A special photosynthetic pathway enables their stomata to remain closed during the daytime. Already they have taken the raw material, sufficient raw material they have collected during the night time. So they don't have to keep it open during the daytime. You know that in desert, the temperature will cool down during the night time. So when compared to the daytime, nights are cooler in desert. So it is easy if they are, it is better, it is in order to conserve water, they prefer to keep their stomata open during the night time and take in enough amount of carbon dioxide, which will be acted upon by solar energy during the daytime. That is also another important method for conserving what? Water. Desert plants like Opuntia, here you can see the picture of Opuntia, have no leaves. Not for all desert plants. So in some of the cases like Opuntia, you can find the leaves are transformed into spines, reduced to spines, and that is meant for reducing water loss by means of transpiration. Usually transpiration takes place from the surface of the leaves, and here it is reduced because the leaves are reduced to spines and the stem is green in color, and this green color stem will carry out photosynthesis, and the stomata present in desert plants, you call it as sunken stomata, and the sunken stomata also will help them to conserve water. Another method for conserving water is CAM pathway. So these are the three main adaptations. Now moving on to the adaptations found in mammals. Yes, you want to see the previous one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, not it. When you have completed, let me know.
That.
Okay. So I think we have less time.
Name of that process.
Chris, you want me to write it over there again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll write. And the intermediate product which they are forming is known as malate. Okay, Steffi?
Yes, sir.
What are adaptations? Nidhi, no power there or no light in the room?
No power, ma'am.
Okay, tell me what are adaptations, Nidhi? Let it be wrong, no problem, I'll help you. What are adaptations? If you have written the notes, just check and tell me. Just read it.
Adaptation is morphological, physiological behavior that enables organism to survive and
Attributes that enable.
enables the organism to survive and reproduce in their habitat.
Good. So these are the morphological, physiological and behavioral attributes that enable an organism to survive and reproduce in a particular habitat. Then what else we learned after that, Sharon?
Adaptation of kangaroo rat.
Tell me, what are the one adaptation you can say?
The internal fat oxidation gives water
Your own words.
as byproduct,
which they can?
Which they do not need the external.
So this they will use as a source of water and they don't have to take it from an external source. So in their body, oxidation of inside their body or internal fat will undergo oxidation and releases water as a byproduct. So they don't have to depend upon an external source of water. Second point, Vidur. Don't take too much time, unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Their ability to concentrate urine.
They produce highly concentrated urine so that less amount of water is used for removing excretory products. Okay, then Donna, then we learned about the adaptations found in desert plants. So please list them. 1 point.
Presence of thick cuticle on leaves.
Presence of a thick cuticle. Then why cuticle is present? To reduce
Water loss.
Reduce water loss. Okay, then another point, Rijas.
Their stoma or sunken stoma.
They have
sunken stomata.
And that also will help in reducing transpiration. And sunken stomata means stomata are placed in deep pits, not closer to the surface, but they are placed in certain pits. Then next point, Evelyn.
They are having a special photosynthetic pathway.
What do you call this pathway?
That means
Pathway.
oxidation acid metabolism.
What happens in CAM pathway?
During which the stomata will be open will be closed during the daytime.
And after opening at night, what is being carried out? They will
Carbon dioxide will be accepted during night.
And this carbon dioxide will be converted to malate. Malate is an intermediate product, and in the morning it will be acted upon by solar energy, and photosynthesis will be carried out, okay, using that intermediate. Then any more points? Yes. Who will say? Lydia? Next.
Desert plants like Opuntia has no leaves.
What happened to the leaves? Where the leaves have gone? They are reduced to
thorns, spikes.
Spines. And who carries out photosynthesis there? Leaves are needed for photosynthesis. If leaves cannot carry out, in cactus, who is carrying it out? Which structure, which part of the plant?
Stem.
And to facilitate that, stem is green in color. Okay, children, we'll wind up. Thank you, children. See you next class. Next period.